Good evening, everyone. Just to paraphrase Bharat, we are not one amongst the last coaches. We are the last coach for the evening. And when I was given the slot, both of us were given the slot of 9 p.m., we were really quite happy. We were like, everyone's on drink number 2 or 3. It's a Wednesday night, so it's a perfect drinking night. And what else do people want to hear other than an awesome research project that we have together with Millward Brown? So let's jump right into it. A quick snapshot on the brand. Keratinology is a brand that Unilever owns globally, and in India it's called Keratinology by Sunsilk. It's a hair care innovation brand, and what it really does is it helps you prolong the beauty of your salon-styled hair. It's a brand that leans very heavily on the expertise that Sunsilk has and owns and is trying to build over the markets over the years. It's a difficult TG to market to. It's the core TG for keratinology is women, upper SECs, cities, fragmented audiences, light TV viewers, consumers of different types of media. So while television is still going to be the mass medium, it's going to be the medium that's going to provide the reach, the plan on television ensured that we were able to focus our spends on specific channels, which are pretty much reach channels for these mediums, for these audiences, and it kind of drove awareness across these audiences. Similarly, print had a different job to do. It had to establish, other than establishing awareness, it also had to establish what the product was about. What are we supposed to do with this product? What's important in terms of relevance for the consumer, in terms of relevance for the category itself. But the core job, and the core job that we felt digital could do was drive the benefits, and drive expertise, drive these core values which a brand manager would give, give their left arm for. So what did we do on digital? On digital, what we went ahead with was almost like a virtual salon. It is a virtual salon which we hosted on YouTube, and which embraced the best that digital had to offer. It offered interactivity, it offered video, and it offered personalization. Pretty much the 3 big things that any digital medium can offer to you at this point of time. Reach and awareness on digital was taken care of through huge platforms like Yahoo, huge platforms like social media, huge platforms like other horizontals as well. And this is what we put together from when the consumer first came on to the keratinology page.
Have you ever wondered how you'd look with completely different hair? For the first time in India, a virtual hair studio from Sunsilk Keratinology. Upload your picture, enjoy some personalized virtual pampering, and get tips on the Sunsilk Keratinology products that work best for you. See yourself in a variety of virtually created haircuts and styles. Go on, click the link below. Sunsilk Keratinology, salon beauty for longer.
And what this campaign did was it delivered a lot of excellent transactional metrics for us. Great amount of visibility on the campaign. The channel crossed more than 1 million views in less than 3 weeks. Excellent CTRs on the campaign, excellent time spent, more than 3.5–4 minutes of time spent on the page itself. A lot of people, about 3 lakh people, tried the gadget on their own. And while all of this is pretty much a marketer's dream come true, I think the real meat is on what it did to the brand. So I'm going to hand over to Straford here, who's going to take you through the first few slides of this.
Thank you very much, Karthik. I'd really like to think that the organizers have left the best for the last. And I'm talking about the entertainment after our presentation. Keratinology is probably not the best word to be saying at this time of the evening. And I don't know about you, but it reminds me of religion, a bit like Scientology or something like that. But basically what we're here for is to talk a little bit about the brand impacts on this variant of Sunsilk. And when I say brand impact, I'm talking in relative to other media, not just looking at YouTube in isolation. But before I do that, what I thought it might be good to do is to take a step back and talk a little bit about what is cross-media research and how is it actually done. So, as we all know, that the media landscape has been changing rapidly over the last decade or so. On the one side, we have media proliferation, where there are lots of channels, more TV stations, more radio stations, more outdoor hoardings, and of course digital, leading to more media. And on the other side, there is basically a time-poor consumer. 24 hours in a day is not enough. Multitasking consumer. I mean, look around the room now, and you can see people actually on their mobile phones while they're listening to me. Or at least I'm hoping that they're listening to me. But really, on the one side, we have more media. On the other side, you have less time, lesser attention, calling for a grim situation. Cross-media research, therefore, is a big step forward in the sophistication of touchpoint evaluation. It takes into account campaign-based questionnaire, tailored sampling, and advanced analytics to isolate the effect of individual touchpoints on brand metrics. But not just isolate the impact of individual touchpoints, it also looks at how these touchpoints work together. How does TV and YouTube work together? How does YouTube and print work together? So on and so forth. So straight away now into a little bit of the methodology. Effectively, cross-media answers 4 broad-based questions. The first is, how did the campaign perform? Secondly, it's about the effectiveness of the individual touchpoints and how they work together. Then it's about the efficiency of those individual touchpoints. But importantly, cross-media research is a forward-looking tool in that it doesn't tell you about, or doesn't just tell you about the campaign, it tells you how you can plan and buy in the future. Okay, so a couple of slides now on actual methodology, and I'm going to try and keep it as painless as possible, and I'm going to go through it really quickly. Basically, we had to do a pre-wave of 400 people to understand their pre-existing attitudes, and about 1,000 people during the campaign, so that we know what their media consumption is to individual media. What we do is, the keyword here is exposure, and we use the word exposure because exposure, which when converted to reach and frequency, is what media agencies plan and buy, as opposed to, oh, do you recognize this ad? But media agencies can't plan and buy that. So, of course, there is sufficient to say that it's actually quite a robust methodology. I won't go through it in quite a lot of detail, given the time of the night, given that we are in the graveyard shift. So we are able to isolate in a very, very defined, detailed way the impact of individual touch points and how they work together. So effectively, now for the more interesting part, which is what was the campaign performance. So the first thing we look at is what we call reach and frequency of the campaign. Importantly, through cross-media, we convert everything to a common currency of reach and frequency. So you have reach and frequency for TV, for online video, for print, for radio, for everything. So we can start comparing the two. But because it's a single source data, we can then start looking at overlap between TV and radio, TV and YouTube, TV and online, and a combination of them. So we then determined what was the reach of the campaign. Television, of course, because it was a very niche campaign, only had a reach of 24%, magazines 14%, YouTube 9.5%. But importantly, what is the additional reach delivered by YouTube over and above TV? Because we consider that as multi-screen. Okay, and importantly here you can see that YouTube is delivering an additional 6.4 over and above TV. Now, this is not unique to India. We have seen that in the UK, we have seen that in Australia, we have seen that in Malaysia. So this is a global phenomena, and it's in India, it's happening exactly the same particular way. But how is this incremental, or where is this incremental reach actually coming from? That is a big question. What we are finding is, and again, I'm not going to dwell too much on this chart, what we are starting to find is that the incremental reach is coming from light and non-TV viewers. Importantly, so those light and non-TV viewers, particularly those who are younger and slightly more educated and affluent, are actually accessing YouTube. And again, No different story across the world. Malaysia, Australia, as you can see, higher reach amongst light and non-TV viewers. So from this, I move on to the campaign impact. I'll introduce one slide and hand over to Karthik. Effectively, we break down the campaign impact into 3 bits. The first bit is what I call baseline, or the awareness in this particular case that you would get anyway, whether you did the campaign or not. The second bit is about ongoing influences, things that are happening. If you do an annual sponsorship, that is happening, that is not come because of the campaign activity. And of course, campaign activity. So the first thing we break down, and you can see that the ongoing activity in this particular brand's case is much, much larger because it is what I call as a sister brand of Sunsilk, which is a massive parent brand. So there is a lot of word of mouth, there's a lot of PR coming through, but also importantly, awareness. Now, normally, YouTube is the sort of media that actually drives differentiation. And we can see in charts later, it does drive differentiation, but we're also seeing that it's driving saliency in this particular case, which is it is driving awareness. And, okay, Karthik will talk a little bit more about that, is how the content that we used on YouTube was different from that of TV. Over to you, Karthik.
Thank you, Straford. While awareness is something that we still believe that mass media will drive, elements like consideration and elements like, which are the core brand messages or the core brand statements, which is on expertise or which is on the fact that it's a new range from Sunsilk, we see YouTube and we see online and a combination of mass media as well drive that. But if you look at the percentage contribution, you see like close to about 90% of the contribution is from YouTube. And if you look at look closer at the brand statements that we have right now, pretty much the core proposition of the brand, which was the fact that it prolongs the beauty of salon-styled hair, majority of the impact has come from online and not necessarily from mass media. So the point that Straford was making, that YouTube drives differentiation, especially on core attributes of brand rather than on awareness, rather than on consideration, it's kind of amplified by this point. We also wanted to look at how this campaign drove back onto Sunsilk, the mother brand. And very, very excited to look at these kind of results. On a brand like Sunsilk, which is a really established brand, it's been in the market for so long, has always on campaigns on television, about 9% uplift was delivered. And in this uplift, about 17% of it was the contribution was from online. And while you just look at recommendation or as a metric, and if you move to other metrics, which is core to the brand, core to Sunsilk, pretty much the ethos of Sunsilk right now, which is expertise, online display, and a combination of mass media plus online display has really helped deliver that 4% uplift. So this is something that we do see, and one of the reasons that we probably saw something like this time is the fact that we went with different content and made for web content for YouTube rather than repurposing the TV content. And what we've seen is that every time we repurpose TV content, it helps us deliver better awareness, better reach, better saliency maybe. But if you want to drive differentiation, we've always seen that making content for the web, if you saw the promo, we had Malaika for the promo, we didn't have her in our TVCs. So it was done primarily for PR and done primarily for YouTube. And this helps drive differentiation if you can focus on made-for-web type of content. But does all of this come at efficiency, or does all of this come at, let's say, delivering a great cost per point? So if you look at just awareness as a metric, and this we have done across all other metrics as well, if I have to index the amount of money that I need to put for 1% increase in awareness, and we can do this exercise for consideration, brand scores, etc., etc. Online, the investment online, if you index it to 100, the investment on TV and the investment of print are 2x to 3x. So it is, so digital does, the way we look at it, digital does deliver differentiation. YouTube does deliver the awareness also to an extent, but more important than awareness, differentiation. And it also does it at a very, very, very efficient cost. And that's something that we'll take forward from this study. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.